Heart attack without chest pain. 6 signs seniors ignore. Have you ever found yourself feeling completely wiped out after a simple trip to the grocery store? Or maybe you've had a weird nagging ache in your back or jaw that you just brushed off, thinking, well, this is just part of getting older. These are the kinds of subtle feelings that countless seniors ignore every single day. We write them off as the normal wear and tear of a life well lived. But what if they're not? What if these little whispers from your body are actually urgent warnings? These could be the earliest signs of a silent heart attack, a serious medical event that happens without the classic chest-grabbing pain we all expect. The CDC tells us that in the United States, someone has a heart attack every 40 seconds. And here's the kicker. It's estimated that about 1 in 5 of those are silent heart attacks. These events, also known as silent myocardial infarctions, are especially common in seniors and often go totally unrecognized until a doctor finds the damage later on an EKG. They happen when blood flow to the heart muscle gets blocked, causing damage, but the symptoms are so sneaky they get mistaken for things like heartburn, the flu, or a pulled muscle. This is particularly true for older adults whose bodies might react to a heart attack differently, with symptoms that build up slowly over hours or even days. And that's where the real danger sneaks in. We've told ourselves a story about what aging is supposed to feel like. We expect to slow down. We anticipate more aches and pains. And in doing that, we create blind spots. We tell ourselves this is just part of the journey. But that way of thinking, that acceptance of every new discomfort as normal, can stop us from getting the life-saving help we need. The point of this video isn't to scare you, it's the exact opposite. The goal is to empower you with knowledge, to turn that confusion into clarity, and to replace passive acceptance with proactive awareness. We're here to share some crucial health secrets that can help you tell the difference between the normal process of aging and a genuine warning from your heart. This brings us to the core of our chat today, the strong make it mindset. This isn't just a catchy phrase, it's a whole new approach to your health. It's about recognizing that you are the #1 guardian of your own well-being. It's about taking information like what you're about to hear and using it to make powerful choices. The strong make it mindset is about looking at a health challenge, no matter how big or small, and having the confidence and the tools to tackle it head on. Today, we're pulling back the curtain on the 6 critical signs of a heart attack that don't involve chest pain, the very signs that so many seniors ignore. By the end of this video, you'll have a clear roadmap of what to watch for, why it's happening, and exactly how to respond, so you can protect your health and truly own the strength you have inside you. Feeling way more tired than usual after running a simple errand? Or maybe you've got a nagging ache in your back or jaw that you've chalked up to just getting older. These subtle feelings are what so many seniors ignore, but they could be your body's first warning of a silent heart attack. In this video, we're going to reveal the 6 critical non-chest pain signs of a heart attack to empower you to protect your health and embrace a strong make-it mindset. Sign number 1, unusual or excessive fatigue. All right, let's jump into our first sign, and it's probably the one that's easiest to dismiss, a deep, unusual sense of fatigue. Now, let's be crystal clear. This isn't about feeling tired after a long day or a rough night's sleep. Everybody gets tired. This is different. This is a heavy, overwhelming exhaustion that often comes out of nowhere. Many who have been through it describe it as feeling like someone just pulled the plug on their energy. You might feel totally drained for days or even weeks before a heart event. It's not the kind of tired that a nap or a quiet afternoon can fix. It's a relentless, full-body exhaustion that makes simple tasks like making the bed or walking to the mailbox feel like climbing a mountain. This fatigue is often so intense it comes with a side of mental fog or weakness. It's especially common for women to experience this kind of severe fatigue, sometimes for months before or during a heart attack. So why does this happen? What's the link between your heart and feeling so wiped out? It all comes down to basic plumbing and energy. A heart attack is a blockage problem, An artery supplying oxygen-rich blood to your heart gets clogged. To keep your body going, your heart has to work much, much harder to pump blood through that blockage. This extra work burns a ton of energy. Your body, being incredibly smart, has to steal that energy from other places, like your muscles and brain, to fuel the heart's struggle. The result? You're left running on fumes, and you feel it as that profound fatigue. Let's picture it. You normally have no problem carrying in a few bags of groceries, but suddenly doing just that leaves you needing to sit down immediately, totally exhausted for the rest of the day. Or maybe you've always enjoyed a short walk, but now halfway around the block, you feel an overwhelming need to stop because you're just too tired. This is the kind of out-of-the-blue fatigue we're talking about. It's a sudden dramatic shift from your normal. This is where we have to challenge that normal for my age myth. It's so easy to think, well, I'm 70, of course I'm tired. And yes, our energy levels do change over the years, but a silent heart attack doesn't show up as a gradual decline. It's often a sudden, severe drop-off. The key isn't that you're tired, it's why you're tired and how different this feels. If you feel much more exhausted than is normal for you, and it's a new feeling, that's your body waving a red flag. This isn't just aging. This could be your heart calling for help.
Sign number 2, shortness of breath. Now for sign number 2, which often goes hand in hand with fatigue, shortness of breath. Just like fatigue, we're not talking about getting breathless after climbing a bunch of stairs. This is a shortness of breath that feels completely out of proportion to what you're doing. The feeling can show up in a few ways. You might get winded doing light activities you used to handle with ease, like walking across the room or even just talking. Some people describe it as a tightness, like you just can't get a full, satisfying breath. For others, it can happen even when you're sitting still, which is a major red flag. It might even be so bad that it wakes you up at night, gasping for air. This often comes with dizziness or lightheadedness, making the whole experience even more distressing. The connection between your breath and your heart is direct. They're a team. Your heart pumps blood to the lungs to get oxygen, then pumps that fresh, oxygenated blood out to the rest of the body. During a heart attack, the damaged heart muscle can't pump effectively, and the system breaks down. First, the heart might not be able to send enough blood to the lungs to get oxygen, leaving you feeling starved for air. Second, the weakened heart can't handle the blood it gets from the lungs. This causes a traffic jam and blood backs up, increasing pressure and causing fluid to leak into your lungs. That's what creates that distinct feeling of breathlessness, and it's a classic sign that the heart-lung team is in trouble. Let's bring this home. Is making the bed in the morning suddenly leaving you breathless? Are you finding that you can't walk and talk on the phone at the same time anymore? Have you had to prop yourself up with an extra pillow to sleep because lying flat makes you feel like you're suffocating? These are not small things. These are big changes in how your body is working, and they deserve your attention. Of course, other things like asthma, COPD, or even anxiety can cause shortness of breath. That's why context is everything. If you have a lung condition, you know your baseline. The real warning sign is a change from that baseline. Is this breathlessness new? Is it suddenly worse? Does it happen with less and less activity? Just like fatigue, this symptom is more common in women and can start months before an actual heart attack. Don't just write it off as being out of shape. It's a critical clue that your heart is under serious strain. Sign number 3, pain or discomfort in other upper body areas. This next sign is a true master of disguise, and it's a huge reason so many silent heart attacks go completely unnoticed. We're talking about pain or discomfort in parts of your upper body other than your chest. We instinctively grab our chest when we think heart attack, but for many seniors, especially women, the heart's distress signal shows up somewhere else entirely. This discomfort is rarely a sharp, dramatic pain. Instead, it's often a mild, nagging ache or a feeling of pressure. The most common spots are the jaw, neck, back, especially between the shoulder blades, shoulders, or down one or both arms. The feeling can be shifty. It might come and go,
feel like it's moving, or just be a constant, dull ache. People often describe this in misleading ways. Jaw pain might feel like a toothache, sending them to the dentist for no reason. Back or neck discomfort can feel like you just slept wrong or overdid it in the garden. The sensation can also feel like soreness, numbness, or even a pinching feeling. So why? Why would a problem in your heart make your jaw hurt? The answer is a weird phenomenon called referred pain. It's basically a case of crossed wires in your nervous system. Your heart muscle doesn't have many pain nerves. When it's in trouble, it sends alarm signals up the spinal cord to the brain. But nerves from your jaw, arms, and back use the same pathways. Your brain gets confused trying to pinpoint the source and makes its best guess, often misinterpreting the heart's signal as coming from your arm or your jaw instead. Think about it. Have you woken up with a sore jaw and just assumed you were grinding your teeth? Have you been blaming a persistent ache between your shoulder blades on bad posture? Or maybe you felt a weird ache in your arms that doesn't feel like normal muscle soreness. Here's a huge clue to tell this apart from a simple muscle strain. Cardiac-related discomfort usually isn't positional. That means stretching your back or shaking out your arm probably won't make it better or worse. A pulled muscle would likely react to movement. Even more telling is discomfort that shows up with exertion and goes away with rest. If your jaw only starts to ache when you're walking uphill, or your back only bothers you when you're carrying groceries, that's not a muscle problem. That's a classic pattern of heart-related distress, and it needs to be taken seriously. Sign number 4. Nausea, indigestion, or lightheadedness. Our fourth sign moves from the upper body to the stomach and head. It's that confusing trio of nausea, indigestion, and lightheadedness. These are without a doubt some of the trickiest signs because they perfectly mimic everyday stomach bugs or dizzy spells. The symptoms can hit as a sudden wave of nausea, sometimes even leading to vomiting. It might also feel like a burning, fullness, or discomfort in your upper stomach, a lot like heartburn. This is why so many people just reach for an antacid, thinking they ate something that didn't agree with them. Along with the stomach issues, you might feel suddenly dizzy, lightheaded, or unsteady, as if you're about to faint. The link between your heart and your stomach is both physical and neurological. The bottom part of your heart literally sits right on top of the diaphragm, the muscle that separates your chest from your belly. A huge nerve that helps control digestion, the vagus nerve, also runs right through this area. When a heart attack affects that part of the heart, it can physically irritate the nerve and the diaphragm, triggering those feelings of nausea and stomach upset. The lightheadedness has a different cause. When your heart is struggling, your blood pressure can drop, or the amount of blood reaching your brain can be reduced. That lack of blood flow and oxygen is what causes that dizzy feeling, or the sense that you might pass out. Think about these situations. You finish a normal meal and suddenly feel sick to your stomach, but it comes with a strange sense of unease, or maybe some of that shortness of breath we talked about. That's different from just indigestion. Or you stand up from a chair and get a wave of dizziness that's way more intense than the usual head rush. The key differentiator here is often the company it keeps. Indigestion by itself is usually just indigestion, but indigestion that arrives with a cold sweat, unexplained fatigue, or shortness of breath is a completely different and much more serious ballgame. Women are especially likely to experience these kinds of non-chest pain symptoms. You have to trust your gut. Literally, if you feel sick and something just feels off, that's a signal worth investigating, not ignoring. We've just covered 4 incredibly important and often missed signs of a silent heart attack. If this information is already shining a light on things you've experienced or worried about, please take a quick second and click that like button. It's a small click for you, but a huge help for the channel. It tells YouTube this is valuable information, and it helps get the video in front of other seniors, maybe even a friend or neighbor who desperately need this message. Thank you for helping us spread this life-saving knowledge. Now, let's get to our 5th sign.
Sign 5. Breaking out in a cold sweat. Our 5th sign is one of your body's most primal alarms, breaking out in a cold sweat for no good reason. This isn't the sweat you get from being on a hot day or after a workout. This is a sudden, drenching, clammy sweat that can leave your skin feeling cool and damp. This symptom can be really unsettling because it feels totally disconnected from your surroundings. You could be sitting calmly watching TV or lying in bed and suddenly you're soaked. It's often accompanied by a pale, ashen look to your skin and a general feeling of unease or even dread. The why behind this is pure survival instinct, your body's fight or flight response. When your heart is being starved of oxygen, it sends out powerful distress signals. Your nervous system interprets this as a major crisis and flips the switch on your emergency response system. This floods your body with adrenaline and your sweat glands go into overdrive. But because the crisis is internal and you're not physically exerting yourself to generate heat, the sweat feels cold and clammy. It's your body's emergency alert system screaming that something is critically wrong on the inside. Let's put this in context. You're at the dinner table with family and suddenly feel clammy and sick, even though no one else is warm. Or you wake up in the middle of the night, drenched in a cold, disorienting sweat. These are not experiences to brush off as just a spell or a hot flash. Importantly, this physical sign is often tied to a psychological one, a sudden, powerful feeling of anxiety or a sense of impending doom. This isn't just you being worried, it's a recognized physiological part of the heart attack experience. Your brain is reacting to the body's crisis signals, creating a deep feeling that something is terribly wrong. When you experience a sudden, unexplained cold sweat, especially if it's paired with this anxiety or any of the other signs we've discussed, your body is demanding your attention. It's a signal that requires an immediate response. Sign 6. Mild chest discomfort, not pain. Finally, we arrive at our 6th sign, and for this one, we have to go back to the chest. But and this is the most important part, I want you to forget the Hollywood heart attack. We are not talking about the sudden, dramatic chest-clutching agony you see in movies. We're talking about mild chest discomfort. This is maybe the most subtle trap of all, because the feeling is in the right spot, but the intensity feels all wrong. It doesn't seem severe enough to panic or call for help. People describe this in a lot of different ways. It's often a feeling of pressure, squeezing, aching, or fullness in the center of the chest. Some say it feels like a weight is sitting on them. Others compare it to bad indigestion or heartburn. A key feature is that it can be intermittent. It might last for a few minutes, go away, and then come back later. This on-again, off-again nature makes it incredibly easy to dismiss. You feel a strange pressure for 5 minutes, but then it vanishes and you think, oh, it must have been nothing, and go about your day. The mechanism is exactly the same as a classic heart attack. The heart muscle is being deprived of oxygen. The sensation is the heart muscle crying out for that oxygen. The only difference is the volume of that cry. The intensity is lower, but the underlying cause and the potential for damage is just as real. Even without dramatic symptoms, a silent heart attack still injures the heart muscle and significantly raises your risk of a future, more severe heart attack. Think about how we rationalize this feeling. You feel a burning in your chest and blame it on lunch. You feel a tightness and assume it's just stress. You feel an ache and think you pulled a muscle. These are all logical, but they can be dangerously wrong. The critical takeaway here is that the word pain can be misleading. A much better word to have in your vocabulary is discomfort. And more important than the intensity of the feeling is its pattern. Is the discomfort tied to activity? Does that pressure in your chest reliably show up every time you walk up a small hill and then fade when you rest? That pattern is a much bigger clue than how severe the feeling is. Any new or changing chest discomfort, no matter how mild, should never be ignored. Knowing these 6 signs, the unusual fatigue, shortness of breath, referred pain, nausea, cold sweats, and mild chest discomfort is the essential first step. But let's be real, knowledge by itself is just trivia. It's what you do with that knowledge that can change your life, and that is exactly where the strong make it mindset comes in.
This mindset is a choice. It's the decision to reject the passive story of aging that tells us to just accept our symptoms. It's about becoming an active, empowered captain of your own health journey. It's the voice inside that says, I have this information, I recognize this feeling, and I will make my health the priority. I will make the call. I will make it through this. It's the shift from being a passenger to being the pilot of your own wellness.
So, how do we put this strong make-it mindset to work to protect our hearts before these warning signs ever show up? The first step is to know your personal risk. Heart attack risk factors fall into two buckets. First are the ones you can't change: your age, your genetics, and your family history. Then there are the modifiable risk factors. These are where your strong make-it attitude can make a huge difference. They include high blood pressure, high cholesterol, diabetes, smoking, being overweight, and a sedentary lifestyle. It's especially important to know that people with diabetes are at a higher risk for silent heart attacks, as nerve damage from the disease can actually mask pain signals from the heart. With that in mind, let's build a proactive health plan on 4 powerful pillars. Pillar 1 is embracing a heart-healthy diet. Don't think of this as a diet of deprivation. Think of it as deliberately fueling your heart for strength. Fill your plate with fruits, vegetables, and whole grains. Go for lean proteins, especially fish rich in omega-3s like salmon. Make healthy fats from nuts and avocados your friends. At the same time, be smart about limiting sodium, which can hike up blood pressure, as well as saturated fats and added sugars. Pillar 2 is committing to consistent physical activity. The American Heart Association recommends getting at least 150 minutes of moderate intensity exercise per week. Before you get intimidated, let's break that down. That's just over 20 minutes a day. And moderate intensity just means you can still talk but not sing while you're doing it. This could be a brisk walk, water aerobics, or even seated exercises while you watch TV. The most important thing is to start slow and pick things you actually enjoy. Consistency always beats intensity. Pillar 3 is knowing your numbers and managing your conditions. This is non-negotiable. Keep your regular checkups with your doctor to monitor your blood pressure, cholesterol, and blood sugar. These numbers are the dashboard for your heart's health. Knowing them allows you and your doctor to make smart decisions about lifestyle changes or medications to keep them under control. Pillar 4 is all about your daily habits. If you smoke, quitting is the single best thing you can do for your heart. Be mindful of alcohol and, crucially, manage your stress. Find healthy ways to unwind, whether it's meditation, being in nature, a hobby, or just connecting with loved ones. Finally, prioritize 7 to 9 hours of quality sleep, which is when your body and heart do their most important repair work. By actively working on these 4 pillars, you're not just hoping for good health, you are building it day by day. That is the strong make-it mindset in action. Today, we've navigated the subtle and often deceptive world of the silent heart attack. We've unmasked the 6 key signs that hide in plain sight: that deep fatigue, the out-of-place shortness of breath, the confusing pain in the back or jaw, the queasy stomach, the sudden cold sweat, and that mild chest discomfort that feels like anything but a crisis. The single most important message to take away from all this is simple. A change in your normal pattern is the most critical warning sign you have. You are the world's foremost expert on your own body. You know what feels normal. If you experience a new symptom or a major change in an old one, especially if it fits the patterns we've talked about, that is your signal to act. Your health is your most valuable asset. It's the foundation for everything else in your life. The strong make-it mindset empowers you to be the vigilant guardian of that asset. You have the knowledge, and you absolutely have the strength to use it. If this has been valuable for you, please do 2 things to help our mission. First, subscribe to the channel and click the notification bell so you never miss our videos on senior health and empowerment. Second, and this is the most important part, please share this video. Send it to a friend, a family member, anyone you care about. That simple share could deliver life-saving information when it's needed most. And finally, let me be crystal clear.
This video is for educational purposes only. It is never, ever a substitute for professional medical advice. If you experience any symptoms that are sudden, severe, or just don't feel right, please do not wait. Do not try to tough it out. Call your local emergency services immediately. Your life is far too precious to take a chance. Thank you for watching.